Welcome to your 7-day subtle body training, where we're going to dive into looking at the chakras and also identifying how the subtle energy in the body affects the whole practice and affects our whole lives. Pretty excited to do this, and joining us for the practice, Stacy will be here demonstrating the postures while I teach. So for today's practice, let's begin lying down. So we're going to use a bolster. But if you don't have a bolster, you could just use a couple of pillows or a pillow underneath your back. But you're just going to lie down over this bolster or pillow set up. Unless it bothers your lower back, the bolster is going to go just to support your rib cage. And you rest with your legs crossed at the middle of the shins and your hands turned up at your side. Okay, so just take a few moments here to relax and let the body open up. Shift your focus onto your breath and feel your belly rise and fall with your breath. Just observe the energetic response of the breath in the body. Bring your attention now to the pelvis and the pelvic floor, which is right at the bottom of your pelvis. And visualize your breath going all the way down into there. So your first chakra is the Muladhara Chakra. It's the root of your being, and it helps you to establish deep connections to your physical body, the environment, and the earth. This is where your instincts like flight or flight can come from, your survival instinct. And of all the 7 chakras, this is the most important to start from so that we can be more interconnected through the chakras. Which to say balancing one chakra will help to take work up into the chakra above. So it's important that we balance the root chakra, the Muladhara Chakra first, before we proceed to others. Otherwise we'll lack stability and a rootedness necessary for the growth, the transformation that's going to happen throughout this practice. So this is all about setting up to feel safe and secure too. So one of the things that I often talk about in the yoga practice is if we look at like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, how we need to establish a foundation in our lives where our needs, our base needs, are being taken care of before we can ascend through the spiritual ladder. Okay, now stretch your arms straight up to the ceiling now. Grab a hold of opposite elbows and then slowly let your arms start to fall back. Bring your arms back up. Change the cross of your arms and change the cross of your legs now. Then slowly let your arms fall back again. Good, then bring your arms back up and release that. Roll over to your side and press yourself up to seated now. Then come into child's pose, but let's take the child's pose balasana with the knees together and the arms stretched back. So let your hips just be heavy onto your heels now. Let your back body start to open and spread with your breath. Really focus on the exhalation. Then come up onto your hands and your knees. And as you exhale, round your back and look back at your navel. Inhale, arch your back, wheel your chest forward. Exhale, round your back, look back at your navel. Inhale, arch to your back, wheel your chest open. Then come into neutral with your spine. Hold there, stretch your right leg back behind you. And then send your left arm forward. Try not to let your ribs twist. Keep the neck free. Then lower your hand and your knee. Change sides, stretch your left leg back behind you without your hips twisting. Stretch your right arm forward. So keep your pelvis balanced. Try not to let it turn open to the left. Then lower your hand and your knee. Inhale, change sides. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, change sides. Exhale, lower down. All right, now let's transition to a seated position. Sit with your legs crossed. And then take the flesh of your buttocks, adjust the flesh of your buttocks so you can feel where your sit bones are. So your sit bones are down at the bottom of your butt, and you want for that bone to aim straight down to the floor. So see if you can feel that. So this is going to help to give us an awareness of what's happening with our pelvis, what's happening with the Muladhara Chakra while we're practicing. So keep the sit bones pointing straight down, and then slowly start to turn from your chest to the right. As you're twisting, try not to let your sit bones angle under you. Keep them reaching straight down so that the rest of the spine grows up tall. So from that root energy, by setting up our roots, we're going to be able to take the energy up the spine. Then slowly come back to center and twist to your left. Turn from the chest. And again, just feel your sit bones aiming straight down to the floor. So really focusing on the sit bones, drawing our awareness down into the spine at the base. Then come back to center. Let's do one more pose here. Take soles of the feet together, knees apart, Baddha Konasana. So again, in Baddha Konasana, adjust so you could feel those sit bones aiming straight down. Now for some of us, because our back body is tight, your spine might go like this when you try to sit up straight. So I'd recommend putting a block underneath so you can get the same access that Stacy can get sitting flat. Maybe a little lift will help you to get the pelvis to be upright. Close your eyes for a moment and just take a few more breaths here. All right, then open up your eyes and come into your first down dog. Okay, so as you hold in the down dog, put a little bend in your knees and try to angle the sit bones up and away from your wrists. Like there's strings on the sit bones, pulling them away from the wrists. And at the same time, turn from your triceps down towards the floor and root down into your middle three knuckles on your hands. Keep stretching and adjusting the pelvis so that it will help with the length of the spine. If your hamstrings are very tight, it might make the buttocks pull under, which will make your back round when you're holding in this. Now see if you can just straighten out your right leg without the hips tucking under. And then change legs. See if you can straighten out the left. Maybe you can straighten both legs and still keep the sit bones reaching, or maybe you have to keep a little bend in the knees. No worries either way. Walk your feet up to the front of your mat. Put a little bend in your knees and let your head drop. Then place your hands onto your outer hips and come all the way up to stand. Join your palms together with your eyes closed. Shift your awareness back down into your pelvis. Take a breath all the way down into the pelvis. And let it out. Then open your eyes and release your arms down at your side. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, make a flat back, elongate. Then step back one leg at a time into plank pose. Good. Now roll your inner thighs up and reach through the sit bones straight down into your heels. Connect them into the back of the heels. Draw your navel up, be broad across your chest. Then without your sit bones twisting, lift your right leg up just 1 inch. Hold there, stay steady. Change legs, raise your left leg up just 1 inch. Set that foot down, then set your knees down and lie down onto your belly. Inhale into low cobra position. So as you hold in low cobra, just a little baby back bend, press the tops of your feet down, roll the inner thighs up towards the ceiling. As the inner thighs roll up, same action with your sit bones, reach them towards the backs of your heels. Then draw from your navel up to your heart, expand your chest. Lower your chest back down. Lift up on the hands and knees and stretch back to downward dog. Walk your feet all the way forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms up. Exhale the hands to your heart. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back one leg at a time into plank. Chest open, legs strong, core strong. Good, now shift forward and lower slowly to elbow height. This should be done on your knees if you're not strong enough to hold with your chest open. Then lift back up into plank pose, steady. Lower slowly all the way to your belly. Point your toes back, inhale into cobra. Lower your chest back down, lift up on the hands and knees, and stretch back to downward facing dog. Walk your feet all the way forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms up. Exhale the hands to your heart. Okay, now let's do a couple of poses that are going to be really focused on the Muladhara Chakra. So turn to your right and separate your feet about 3.5 feet. Turn your big toes out halfway. And then bring your hands to the top of your pelvis right at the iliac crest. So with your hands up there, make sure that the pelvis is upright so that the sit bones are aiming straight down. Okay, now see if you can start to bend your knees out to the side while still feeling that the pelvis, sit bones are aimed straight down towards the floor. You might not be able to go that deep without the sit bones trying to flare behind you. That's okay. So just feel what it's like to externally rotate the thighs and still maintain the neutral feeling in your pelvis. Then spread your arms out to the side. Expand across your chest through the reach of your arms. Good, now straighten your legs. Turn your toes in so the feet are parallel, and then wiggle your feet another foot, maybe even 1.5 feet apart, depending on how long your legs are. Now as you hold in this position, turn your thighs into neutral so that all 4 corners of your knees point straight ahead. And then again, let the sit bones aim straight down into the floor, and from the sit bones connect up the spine and grow tall. Like you're balancing each side of your brain over its own sit bone. Then turn your left toes in a little bit. Turn your right leg out about 90 degrees. So turn that thigh so much that all 4 corners of the knee point off in the same direction as your foot, and then start to bend your right knee over your ankle. Good. Connect from the sit bones towards the floor and up through the spine. And then bring your right forearm onto your thigh and reach your left arm all the way over your ear. Extended side angle. As you roll your left inner thigh back, connect from your left sit bone into your left heel and draw from your navel up to your heart. Reach down through your feet. Inhale, come back up. Straighten your right leg. Turn your feet to the other side. Right foot angles in a little bit. Left leg turns all the way out. Bend your left knee. Roll your right inner thigh back. Let the sit bones connect towards the earth, but also up through your spine, up through your brain. Then tip for extended side angle. Bring your forearm onto your thigh and reach your right arm all the way over your ear. Hold here, 5 breaths. As your right inner thigh rolls back, connect from your sit bone into your heel. Then draw the energy up the spine. So when we know where these places are anatomically, it will help to give us a map in our brain of how to move energy in the body. That's one way to do it. Lift from your navel, come back up. Good. Straighten your left leg and turn your toes in, feet parallel. Bring your hands onto your hips. Roll your shoulders back, inhale. Exhale, fold forward in between your legs. Set your fingertips down now. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, walk the hands back and fold deeper. Inhale, come into a flat back position again. Exhale the hands to your hips. Reach to your feet and come up to stand. Then join your legs together. Stand tall, mountain pose. Vrikshasana, tree pose. Bring your right heel up onto the inside of your left thigh. Then turn your front hip bones to point straight ahead and stretch from your right inner leg towards your knee. Now let's do a variation with the hands. Interlock your fingers with the right index finger on top. Turn your palms inside out and send your arms forward. Then raise your arms all the way up. Bring your arms back down. Lower your leg down. Change sides. Bring your left heel up onto the inside of your right thigh. Interlock your fingers again, this time with the left index finger on top. Turn the palms inside out. Send your arms forward and slowly start to raise them up. Be steady on your right foot, and for a moment, observe where the sit bones are aiming. Now draw energy up in between the sit bones through the pelvic floor up through the spine. Still reaching down through the sit bones. Balance the energy. Bring your arms back down and lower your leg down. So that's the next concept we're going to work with. How to draw energy up and down at the same time. Separate your feet wide apart for triangle. Spread your arms. Turn the left toes in a little, turn the right leg all the way out. Good. Now as you hold here, before we tip over to the side, as you inhale, connect as if you're connecting the sit bones out of your lower back towards the floor. And then as you exhale, draw energy up in between the sit bones straight up through your spine. If you do one too much, then the energy is imbalanced in your body. So we're learning how to move from the Muladhara Chakra first. Tip from your pelvis now out over your right leg and place your hand down. It's said that if you do Mula Bandha well, the movement of energy from the Muladhara Chakra, that Uddiyana Bandha will happen naturally, which is the drawing in and up of the navel action. So you might feel that naturally as you do that, naturally energy is drawing up through your core well. In this pose, turn your right thigh from inside out so your knee is pointing straight out in the direction of your right foot. And same instruction as in side angle as your left inner upper thigh spins back. Connect from your left sit bone towards your left heel. Press to your feet, lift from your belly, come back up. Now turn your feet to the other side. Right foot angles in a little, left leg turns all the way out. As you inhale, expand, reach to the sit bones. Exhale, tip from your pelvis out over your leg. Good, 5 breaths here. Connect through the sit bones into the heel. Draw up from this, in between the sit bones to the spine. Instead of letting your spine hang over lazy, over onto your left leg, extend through the spine in the direction of the crown. Straight out in the direction of your left leg. That's important because for anatomically, we want the muscles to start to get healthier in the spine. If they just hang over, then you're just tending to hinge from the same places all the time. Lift from your belly and come back up. Turn your left toes in so your feet are parallel. Then join your legs all the way together. Good job. All right, now step up to the front of your mat. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, make a flat back. Step back to plank pose, one leg at a time. Open your chest and plank. Now you can hold in plank and then glide back to down dog or out of vinyasa. Shift forward and lower slowly to elbow height, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Good, then from down dog, set your knees down. Set your elbows down too. Take your hands shoulder distance apart. Expand across your chest, then one leg at a time, step back into plank on your forearms. Hold here. Adjust your thighs, turn the inner thighs up until it feels like your knees are pointing straight down to the floor, the thighs aren't turned out at all. Then reach the sit bones out of the lower back towards the heels. As you draw in between the sit bones, up through your spine. I have to close my eyes to do that because I'm visualizing myself doing it. So do that in your own body. You can close the eyes if it helps. Okay, cool. Now from here, bring your feet together and roll to the outside edge of your left foot. Take your right arm up. If there's pressure on your shoulder to keep the arm externally rotated this much, you can angle your left forearm in more. If it's too much on your shoulder, you can also set your knee down. But otherwise, work the same action in your legs that you're just doing in this 2-arm plank. Inner thighs back, sit bones towards the heels and navel up. From the pelvic floor. Then set your right elbow down and change sides. Roll to the outside edge of your right foot. Take your left arm up. Roll the thighs back and reach through your feet. From the sit bones connect into the feet. And in between your sit bones to your pelvic floor, connect up your spine. Let your head move back into alignment with the spine so that the energy is moving in a nice channel. Then slowly come back onto your elbow and hold here for 3 minutes. No, I'm kidding. Just for 5 more breaths. Hold, navel and abs of steel. Now as you exhale, take all 4 sides of your ribs, start to hug them down and reach through the sit bones down to the heels. Now draw up through the pelvic floor, grow the spine longer. Okay, that's probably enough of that. You might be shaking. Set your hips down onto the floor. Woo. All right, just take a few breaths here. So this is really good for your spine in this position to help to restore some of the health to the spine. If it's too gnarly, this deep of a back bend, just scoot your elbows forward more. Sphinx pose. So you might feel that the back bend wants to pool in your lower back or sit in your lower back. Visualize from your pelvic floor the energy drawing up the spine, up into the middle upper back. So you can take the curve up the back more. Okay, good. Then lower your chest back down. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Stretch back to down dog. And then come into a seated position. Sit with your legs stretched out in front of you. One of the most common things that I see as people are starting yoga or as they've been practicing for a while is that they're trying to move deeply into their forward bends without first establishing the foundation of the pelvis in Dandasana. So Muladhara Chakra is all about learning to identify the energy there to go up through the spine, and this is a foundation pose to learn to ascend up through advanced asana. So if you want to practice deep forward bends, first you have to be able to sit in an L shape with your sit bones aiming straight down. So make sure I encourage you to look in a mirror, have someone take a picture of you so you can see what it looks like. But you want the sit bones aiming straight down so that it looks like your sacrum lower back are flat up against the wall. If that's not a reality, you need to bend your knees in this pose to help to create health and energy flow. Otherwise, the energy is always going to be trapped if you're sitting like this and then trying to fold forward like that. You haven't set up the energy in the Muladhara Chakra to ascend up. Okay, let's try a couple of postures in this Dandasana position. Now bend your right knee back like a tree pose leg. And then just turn to face your left foot. Now instead of folding forward, let's just sit up straight today. We'll work on starting to move deeper. I know you're very excited, Stacey, about going deep into this. Now if your pose looks really good and feels good, you have the sit bones, everything, you're a very flexible person, just go forward halfway today, like Stacey started to do, and then, go ahead, and then reach straight down through the front of the sit bones. So now the sit bones will start to angle a little bit to take you forward. If you feel your sit bones are going the other way, you're not ready to go a little bit deeper yet, just stay upright. Come back up. If you're tip forward, change, stretch your right leg out, bend your left knee back, and then sit up tall, fingertips at your side. Reach straight down through those sit bones, connect up your spine. Breathe. Now if you have the sit bones, you feel like you're able to connect all the way up your spine through your crown, then start to angle forward halfway, but make sure that you can still feel the front of the sit bones root down. Draw the energy back up the spine again and breathe. Good, then come back up. Stretch your left leg out. Sit up tall. Now last stretch here, start to walk your hands forward halfway. Pause. Make sure you still have the front of the sit bones angling down. Adjust your feet like they're flat up against the wall. Roll the inner thighs down. If you have bent, you can do it with bent knees too, just so you can start to get a little bit of that movement of your pelvis. But if your buns start to tuck under you, then back off, don't walk as far forward. Then inhale, come back up, walk your hands back, and lie down onto your back for corpse pose. So lie down flat and just turn your palms up at your side. Close your eyes. Take your awareness in. Feel your breath moving steady, as if you could breathe all the way down or allow the breath to go all the way down into the pelvis. Feel deeply rooted, feel connected to the body, feel the safety and the stability that comes from your root chakra. Being more identified with this energy in the body helps us to be able to stand for our values, our truth. We feel more stable. An important element of this chakra to start to establish health in the body is that we take care of ourselves with healthy food, clean water, exercise, relaxation, and connecting with nature and the elements around us. These are all ways that we can help to heal imbalances in the chakra. We can also start to cultivate an attitude of letting go of past trauma, challenges, and having the attitude that they've helped us now to transform and to grow. And as we work through the chakras, more and more this is going to be the lesson that's going to help us from what's holding us back in life. So So we trust that life is going to be bringing positive things towards us, all from this root chakra work. So the element, the earth element associated with this chakra is the earth. The color of this chakra is red. Its shape is a square. So for these last few moments while you're here, visualize red light as you breathe in, coming in from your crown chakra, from the crown of your head, all the way down to the root of your pelvis. Visualize that this light can help you to heal imbalances there. The healing light, the healing breath. Now, if you're like me, this might sound pretty far out. When I first started to learn about, first through the Tibetan Book of the Dead, about light and color healing to help bring people into balance, it sounded kind of like a trip. But for this journey, I want you to just put that aside and practice being open. Even if you're the type of person who's more of a skeptic and a realist, just for our journey, practice being open and see what it could do for you. Now take a slightly fuller, deeper breath in through your nose. Gently bend your knees. Roll over to your right side. And press yourself up to seated. Sit up straight and tall. Bring your palms together. And with your eyes closed, lower your head to your heart. Lift the head and open the eyes. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for dedicating your time to this series. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and I hope that you feel that you're starting to build a solid foundation for learning more about the subtle body. So as we work through this, please feel free to send me questions, comments. I'd be happy to support you through this series as you're learning and growing. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you at the second chakra.